So we have Avril from Couture Wedding Cards with us today. Avril specialises in luxury wedding stationery. Avril, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Laura.
So I think this will be really beneficial to people who are either newly engaged or in the wedding planning process. And I suppose when it comes to wedding stationery, it's such a big part of the day, but it's something that people, I suppose, until it actually comes to the time, they don't put a lot of thought into it, but there actually is a lot to it. It's not just the wedding cards.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to share some tips that will help all newly engaged couples or people planning on getting their wedding stationery.
Exactly. So, I mean, we can start off with what's obvious to people, I suppose, and that would be your wedding invitation. Yeah. That's something that when people think stationery, I think the first thing, well, when I was getting married, the first thing that popped into my head was the actual invite. So I suppose when it comes to the invitation, there's so much out there. And it's kind of quite difficult, I suppose, for people at the beginning to, how do you start? Like, you've seen other people's invitations, you might have an idea of a theme that you're going with on your day. What would you do to kind of help people set them on their way when designing their wedding card, I suppose?
I think it can be overwhelming when you're starting to look at wedding invitations, either with the type, the colour, the style. I suppose the first thing to do is to start looking at the couple's personalities themselves. Do they want it to reflect in their invitation?
Yeah.
Do they want to bring in the theme, their bridesmaid colours, particular style?
Okay.
Usually when couples contact me, I send them out a few samples if they've seen something on my social media or my website account.
Okay.
And we start with sending some samples first. Mm-hmm. Then they make an appointment for a consultation and we chat some more.
Okay.
And then we might do a mood board or maybe share a Pinterest board with me.
Brilliant.
If they have particular wedding ideas.
And I suppose it goes from, you would have set collections.
Yes.
To the couple then that wants to go more bespoke. And I suppose with the bespoke side of things, that's something that you're very comfortable with. And you, I suppose it's an artistic kind of role you have as well. So it kind of gets your juices going as well, I suppose, when it comes to actually being able to design something brand new, individual to that couple.
Yes. A lot of the couples that come to me, some people might pick one of the studio designs that they've seen online. But a lot of people that come to me want to personalise it, either with colours from, as I said, their style or flowers. So they'll send me photos of that.
Okay.
They might want to, it could be anything. I had a couple last year. The house they were moving into, they had a beautiful red Georgian door. They wanted that to be on the front of it.
I like that.
So, the invitation opened up with the door. And then on the inside,
as if you were opening the front door?
As if they were opening the front door with a wax seal. And then on the inside, they had a completely another invitation that opened up with their wedding venue.
Amazing.
So, people personalise it with either their wedding venue or just things, hobbies, or,
I suppose family, pets. I've seen the pets. People are pet mad actually at the moment.
Yeah, they are. Anything like that at all, that'll put their own stamp on their wedding.
Okay, so you're open to new and fresh ideas when it comes to...
Yeah, I will design absolutely anything. So,
And I suppose when it comes to the actual, sticking to the design side of things, it's not something that you'd have to do in person. It's something that could be done because there's a lot of people that are living, well, they're either planning to go abroad for their wedding or they're living in America, Australia, all around the world, and they're coming home to wherever their home is for their wedding. They're not going to be home. So I suppose it's something that you could do a lot digitally with them.
Yes, a lot of the couples, probably about 50% of the couples I deal with aren't in Cork area at all.
Okay.
They're either nationwide or in Europe.
Okay.
So we can do everything by phone calls and by emails, by sending images of details that they want. So, we can do everything by that. We don't even have to meet.
Okay, perfect. So it really opens it up to anybody.
Yeah. And, once we do a digital mock-up of the design.
Okay.
And then we'll do a physical mock-up so that they can actually see it.
Oh, that's nice. So they're supposed to actually feel the product.
Yeah, to hold it. And so everything can be done digitally and online, you don't have to meet.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. And I suppose, and speaking of the physical product, I suppose there's so many different, even paperweights, I know that sounds silly, or finishes or feels or pearls and glitter and all sorts of, and I suppose it looks one way online, looks another way, or to actually have it in your hands. So offering that service to people to actually get a sample.
Because, I mean, there's so many different types of cards out there, and the type of invitations I do are heavyweight premium invitations.
Okay.
So they're bespoke, high quality cards.
Yeah.
So I think people like to get them, you know, and see them, hold them, look at the different colours and finishes.
It becomes a bit more real to people, I suppose, as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, because
100%.
seeing something in a photograph can be completely different to seeing
100%,
it, you know, in real life.
Yeah. And I suppose when it comes to the actual content of the wedding cards, I suppose the obvious thing to people is, this is my date, this is my ceremony venue, this is my reception venue.
Yeah.
But there's so much more you can put into wedding cards nowadays.
There is. So yeah, apart from what you've mentioned, all that is put in. A lot of people put in a wedding timeline.
Okay.
So it gives the order of the day.
I love you got props. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. So this, a lot of people like to do this. So it shows the guests where they're supposed to be on the day. Brilliant. And what time, like photographs, what time dinner, and it adds a bit of a fun element as well, you know, to it. People love seeing that.
Yeah.
As well as that, people put in maps for directions.
Very important.
This particular one is for a destination wedding that was in Portugal this year. So it was a map of where the wedding venue was, because the where people were staying was actually somewhere else.
Oh, right.
So
and I suppose nobody was familiar with the area because your destination. Yeah.
So anything like that can be put in, and as well, people like to put in details of the day after. I find because most people have a wedding party the day after.
Yeah. Well, it's turned into a weekend affair now.
Yeah. So they have to put in the details because it may not be in the same venue, and there's the time and. Things like that.
Yeah. And do people add in, like, so say if you were going, there's always going to be people, I suppose, that are travelling that aren't familiar with the area. And when it comes to accommodation, do people put in information about accommodation? They
do, especially if it's in an area that's not local to home. Yeah. So they would put in directions of how to get to the wedding venue, and as well accommodation, you know, hotel choices or bed and breakfast nearby.
But I suppose that makes it so much easier for people, because you're going to go online to the search engine, but you could end up like even 5 miles down the road at 2:00 in the morning.
Exactly.
It becomes a bit of a stretch, for people.
They do. But another couple that I did a few months ago, they were coming from Paris. The groom was French and the bride was from Cork, and they had the invite and the directions in English and in French.
Yes.
So so that was quite nice, you know.
Yeah, and I suppose there's more of that going on as well, where you do have to cater for, you know, everybody that's, especially if it's the bride and groom that are speaking, their home language is something completely different, and it makes a big difference for people.
So everything had to be, you know, translated to, there was English and French then, of course, for the French guests coming, you know.
And would it have been separate invites, like one was a French invite, one was an English invite, or was it kind of like it was bilingual on the, I got it. It was what I made earlier.
So yeah, the invitation is here, and just on one side the date is in French.
Brilliant.
And the date is in English, and you know, so it's just literally put in here, and you know, all the details. One part is English, one part is French.
Okay.
So and then in the directions card, I don't have that with me, but
that's all right.
That was on one side of the card was in English, and the other side was French.
I like that.
You know?
So, and these are all the things that like you could easily overlook.
Yes.
Like you know, and it's such a major thing for people trying to translate it.
Yeah, it is.
It could cause a little bit of I suppose a bit of trouble on the day. But I suppose as well as the actual wedding card itself, but you know, there's so much information you can add to it nowadays, because it's not just the one page. There's whole folds, and I suppose you can get little pockets to put in little bits and pieces as well. But I suppose the RSVP then is something that is very important, because this is the whole reason for sending your wedding invite. When it comes to RSVPs, I suppose you want a date they're going to come back on. Yes. But when it comes to the RSV coming back, I mean, I suppose you kind of want to make sure that you know who's sending it back. And there's a little trick that you told me about before when it comes to RSVPs and knowing who it's from, because not everybody writes their name on them.
That's right. Yeah. So when if you're having a physical RSVP, all you do is put a little number in light pencil on the back of it. Yeah. And then you coordinate each guest to your spread. You know, if you have a wedding spreadsheet, done it with each guest name. So if you had Mr. and Mrs. Murphy, say put number 1. Yes. Because you'd be very surprised the amount of people that actually send back.
Tick the S box and post it
in their excitement, and it comes back blank.
So you get a yes RSVP, but you
don't know.
no idea who it's from.
So if you have a little number on the back, that,
big
at least then you can coordinate who actually it's for,
Okay.
So
no,
just
it makes a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, a little tip for that.
And I suppose, while we're on the actual wedding invite itself, I keep to, I suppose, timing. Timing is something that it's a bit of a grey area for people. Sure, why would you know? Because you probably haven't gotten married again before.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's save the dates then as well. So does everybody do a save the date, or?
No, it depends. I think if you were having a save the date, a lot of the time it's when they're having a destination wedding.
Okay.
Or they're having it on maybe a bank holiday weekend that people would have holidays booked away.
Yeah.
Or at Christmas time. I think a lot of the Christmas weddings, people can tend to send a save the date because people would have plans and of course they want them to come.
Yeah.
So
and when's a good time to send your save the date?
I would say 6 or 8 months beforehand.
Okay. Depending on whether it's destination, when people are travelling, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I suppose every wedding would be slightly different.
Yeah. It would,
yeah. So I suppose your save the date's your first thing, if you do it.
The
second thing then would be the actual invite. When would you advise couples to actually send the invite?
Generally, as a rule of thumb, I would say 8 weeks beforehand. And then you would have your RSVP date a month beforehand, 4 weeks.
Okay.
Because usually the hotels will start looking for numbers at that point.
Of course.
And as well, you need to start getting organised, of how many you're going to have on the actual day.
So you can start planning the table plan. I know everyone loves doing that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
The most fun part of the day.
Yeah.
And then I suppose, so the timing, that does clear things up a lot for people, because it is a bit of a grey area when it comes to when should I do it. I suppose, sticking with the timing side of things, 8 weeks, say, sorry, not 8 weeks. Did you say 8 weeks? Is it 8 weeks? 8 weeks. 8 weeks. It's 8 weeks from when it's designed, it's ready to go, and it's going out in the post. You need to allow enough time prior to this to actually go through the design process.
Yeah.
And I think you probably get a lot of people coming to you going, sure, look, we've got a week. We'll be fine. We'll get it done. And I suppose there is a lot of back and forth when it comes to getting it right.
Yeah, I would usually say, come to me as early as possible.
Okay.
Even 4 to 6 months beforehand.
Yeah.
Because you'd be surprised, as you said, there is a lot of back and forth, and you're getting the final touches and making changes and edits.
Yeah.
So the earlier the better. So I suppose 4 months, I would definitely say.
Okay.
Now, I do accommodate rush orders to help people out, but please, I would say
in an ideal world,
especially if you want personalised details, and if you're having a bespoke invitation, definitely,
Well, I suppose if you're picking
better.
from a collection, that's something that you would do regularly. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Bespoke is a whole other thing, and I suppose
it just takes time.
Yeah, and it's how people explain themselves as well.
Yeah.
They have one, I suppose, vision of what they want their invite to look like, and then it's the communication between the two of you until you actually get it right, I suppose.
Exactly.
So I suppose timing, actually getting the design, allowing enough time for the design work. So again, you're just keeping everything stress free, and it's enjoyable. So it's something that you should enjoy doing as well, because it's all part of the wedding. Yeah, it shouldn't be like, right, I have to get the invites on. It's a bit of a chore. No, you don't want that. And I suppose so. The invite and the save the date and the RSV, that's something that people think of top of their heads. But when it comes to actual, I suppose, wedding stationery outside of the cards, it's endless. There's so much. And something that I know people, they struggle with a lot would be your ceremony booklets, how to put them together.
Yeah, and that is quite time consuming as well for people, because you have to have, your music.
Yes.
You need your readers, you have your bridal party, your readings itself.
Yeah.
So it depends how much you want to put into your ceremony, and how detailed you want it to be.
So some people would still go with the full ceremony booklet, everything included.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some people would go with the full ceremony booklet. So this would be a full ceremony booklet here. It's 16 or 20 pages.
Okay.
So it has all the details. So
16 to 20 pages. Wow. Okay. So there is a lot of information needed.
A lot. It depends what you want, really. Now, other options that I do is a ceremony scroll. So this is an A4 sheet, and it's a nice pearlized paper. So everything is more condensed on this,
Yes.
So
you can roll it up and bring it in the handbag afterwards.
You can roll it up. So again, it depends how much detail you want to put in.
Okay.
Or this one here is really popular at the moment. It's a triple fold mass card.
Right.
So again, it's got a good few details, but instead of having all the readings detailed out, it might just have headings.
Right, okay.
And
it's kind of running you through it, but not giving you full details.
It's running you through it,
okay.
and the priest can have a look at it as well, and he knows, where the ceremony is going.
He doesn't forget what's happening.
Yeah. And again, a lot of people like to put in a little thank you at the end, to their guests.
Okay,
Everybody
that's nice.
has
okay.
that in, and just to thank everyone for coming, and so
and do people include the running of the day as well in the booklet sometimes?
Not really.
Okay.
They might mention about not having social media photographs.
My
actually
favourite hot topic.
They might put a little line in that
okay.
As well about not posting photographs.
Okay.
That's really important to people at the moment.
And I suppose while we're on that subject, there's a few different ways to communicate that. And I know that it's in this day and age, it's become, some people love it. Some people, they're getting married for social media, so that they can post themselves, and they're quite happy for everybody else to almost stream the wedding live. And then there's other days where the thought of somebody posting a picture before they get a chance to, or at all ever, it actually causes a little bit of stress and anxiety to people. So other than I've seen it in the booklets, but people do signs as well then.
They do. I think like for couples, and especially for the bride herself, having her photograph or a video of her in her wedding dress put up on social media before professional photographs have been posted.
Or before you've left the ceremony venue.
It's probably one of the most daunting and most stressful things for couples that I've met.
That's it.
And nearly every couple that comes into me, they mention this, and it's a worry.
It's on their mind.
It's on their mind.
Okay.
So I'm finding a trend. A lot of people are actually asking me now to make large signs for the church.
So for like the back of the church as you walk in, is it?
Yeah, for the back of the church, or if you're having a civil ceremony in a hotel or your venue, they're having it there as people walk in, so that they can see it, and maybe decorate it with nice flowers or florals going in.
To make it part of
so that it's apparent to them and they can see, look, please, respect our wishes.
Yeah.
We want you to be fully present. That's a huge thing. They want people to enjoy it and not have their phones out.
And I've seen people do it in different ways where they're very kind of, this is our instruction and very kind of clear, and this is what they want. And I've seen people do it in nice kind of friendly kind of verses, or almost like a little poem to, we please don't do this, in a really nice way kind of thing. And I suppose there's different ways to approach it.
You can do it in a fun, sort of tactful way, or some people actually like it's just straight out there that
just don't do it.
Do not post about social media, They're very strict on it, so it depends how gentle or direct you want to be.
And I suppose how much of a ban they want. Is it that they don't want people posting on social media and they're okay with people taking pictures, or they could be, we just don't want you to use the device at all.
Yeah,
I suppose there's two different ways of approaching it.
They don't want it on the ceremony, or it could be that throughout the whole wedding they don't want any of their pictures. But
take selfies of yourself. Exactly. Just not me. Exactly. And I suppose and then there was one other. I've seen these a couple times before, and they're great for summer weddings.
Yeah, so they're either called wedding fans or wedding paddles. It would be the American. They call them wedding paddles in America. So
kind of sounds a bit aggressive over here.
It does, I had a couple when they were getting married in the Aran Islands, and they had these there just for a bit of fun. And again, it's their wedding ceremony. Yeah. Condensed on this with their wedding party on the front, and the lighting of the candle and their music, and on the back then again the prayers of the faithful, and everything is in there, but it's just condensed. And it's a bit of fun as well.
It's a nice keepsake for people as well to actually take away, I think.
And they're in a nice basket then as you come into the ceremony, and they look lovely, so they can be done in any design to coordinate with your invitations.
And different sizes, I suppose.
So
varies,
like they can't be too big, but this would be like the general size. But they can be done in different shapes and sizes.
Oh, that's fabulous. So. And these are things I suppose. And when it actually comes to this is just popping into my mind too, the content of the mass booklet or the ceremony booklet. Yes. I know when it comes to the design, and that's something that you'll help people out. But I hear a lot from couples, like they're just trying to figure out what content goes into the actual booklet. Is that something that you help people with?
Yes. So usually what I do is I send people for if they want a triple mass card, if they want the wedding paddle, a scroll, I will send them a template.
Okay.
They just fill it out and they can tweak it to their requirements, to putting in their own music and all that. They have to send it then to their priest for approval.
Right, okay.
It comes back to me, I make the final edits, check all the spellings, the whole lot, and then they give final sign off before it goes to print.
Okay, perfect.
But yeah, generally it must go to your your priest
or your celebrant or
your celebrant, just to check over and make sure they're happy with the content, and everything. And generally they are, but it's just good to check before it goes to print.
Well, yes, you've got a few hundred of them hanging around and you can't use them. Exactly. And I suppose outside of the moving on from the booklet side of things, there's the more, decorative, informative type of stationery you can use. Everything from, signs. And that's something actually we had a wedding recently where you had done the stationery and we were there, and there was lovely signs kind of going up the aisle in the ceremony. Yeah, is that something that's kind of on trend at the moment?
I think with with Pinterest and with Etsy and social media, people are looking for more and more, and they want to be different to the last wedding they went to, so they want to personalize it with all their their own, put their own stamp on things. Okay. So that particular couple that we both worked on there a couple of months ago, they had aisle signs going up, so as they walked into their civil ceremony they had all these nice quotes, love is patient, love is kind, just
their favourite little sayings, kind of just around.
And also the bridesmaids had wedding signs.
That's right.
As they came up the aisle, saying, just wait until you see her. And there was 6 bridesmaids, if I remember correctly. So they all had the sign as they were coming up in the little flower girl.
Which was very alternative to, I suppose, having a bouquet. Yeah. Because not everybody does, everyone has their own way of doing things on the wedding day. And that was actually the first time I saw that. And I thought it was really nice, actually. Yeah. So,
I'm getting new requests all the time, and for me, it's fun and exciting as well to do something different, for people. And as well, they had a sign going into the ceremony, a fun sign: choose a seat, not a side. Okay. But in the end roll here for the bride, just as a bit of a bit of a giggle, I think,
Poor groom never gets a look in. Yeah.
So they did that, and both of them had a really good sense of humor. So I think it was just. Okay. Their guests knew, they were having a bit of a laugh, just,
and I suppose when it comes to signs, like I've seen signs in every form throughout the wedding. Everything from something simple like welcome to the wedding of who they are to, I suppose, back to the timing of the day. People do signs at the timing of the day as well, don't they?
Yeah. So like I was showing you earlier, just in, the order of the day or the wedding timeline that it's called, these can be made into large signs as well. Okay. So as you come into the ceremony, or maybe when people are having their ceremony drinks, these can be done in large A2 or A1 signs, like the size of a wedding sign or a table plan. So
displayed somewhere like on an easel or on a table somewhere.
Yeah, and they look absolutely beautiful. And again, all the graphics can be personalised to what you're having on the day.
Yeah, and I suppose when it comes to timing for guests, it's actually really, because you see guests and they've been to the ceremony and they're kind of having that conversation of, when do you think dinner will be? I'm feeling a bit hungry. Will we have a sandwich? Yeah. And you're kind of going, don't eat. Dinner's coming really soon.
Dinner is coming soon.
But if they know what the timing is, at least there's that kind of, it's all about communication, I suppose. It's all they feel a bit more at ease because you're being brought somewhere, and I suppose the bride and groom are kind of not dictating, but they're telling you how you're going to spend your day because it's your wedding day, and it's kind of when you're eating, when you're sitting, when you're standing, when you're drinking, and for
just
people,
so their guests don't wander off somewhere and go off to the pub or something. But
that they don't go to the local and actually come back on time. Yeah,
so they know dinner is coming at like 5:30 or 6 o'clock. It's really good to give people an idea.
100%.
Yeah. So definitely people are doing more and more on that. With signs.
Yeah.
So
perfect. And I suppose then when it comes to the actual banqueting room itself, there's, again, you're back into stationery. There's the big thing, I suppose, for people is the table fan.
Yes, that's the main thing.
Yeah. And I suppose when it comes to timing, this is something that you can only do, or not only do, but complete when your RSVPs have been all finalised.
So like the wedding plan can really only be done up to about 2 weeks beforehand or less.
Okay.
Because people, believe it or not, even up to a week beforehand are still.
Do you ever have it down to days where you're kind of going, we really need to get this done now?
It has to be within 5 or 6 days because obviously for the printer to have it completed. And there has to be a deadline. But it's amazing how many people, even up to 2 or 3 days before, or even the night before, will come back to the bride and groom and not give their reply. Or, obviously the sickness, people can have cancellation, or any reason, So usually they can't be done till about 2 weeks beforehand, usually at least.
I suppose with the table plan then, you can have a bit of fun with that as well, because whatever way they're doing their invites, it all ties in, it all has a bit of a theme to it. But you see people doing really fun table names and different ways of doing things rather than just like table 1, 2, 3. Like they've got like a theme and it could be Harry Potter, for example, or something like that.
Exactly. One of the couples that I did a wedding for, both of them were huge movie buffs. And they had a cinema table plan. I loved working on that. It was amazing. It was all their favourite movies.
Okay.
And
was the graphics on to go with that, or kind of with the design?
It was all each of their favourite movies, So I think maybe there was 16 tables and it was all those favourite movies from the time.
Yeah.
And even their wedding invitation was done like a movie ticket.
Oh, fabulous. Okay.
And as well as that, their table numbers, and they were done like a clap word, so
like action, here we go, okay,
and lights, camera, action, everything was done. Their menus, I did menus, they were all movie theme, and everything tied in, place name cards, everything tied in.
So you will do the menus, the place names, everything when it comes to stationery, I suppose, within the room, it's something that you can provide, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. And most people have it all tying in to their invitation. It all sort of goes off that, and the design spreads out to the rest of the station. People like to keep it the same element. They might have little different aspects, but...
Yeah, but that, I suppose it all brings it back then as well to giving yourself enough time at the beginning to design the invite, because once you've done that design, it's going to carry through. Yeah. Like, to everything by the sounds of it on the wedding day. Exactly. Well, depending how big you go with it, but I suppose things like table plans, everybody needs a table plan.
Yeah. And everyone has a different... They want something different, you know, and... so it's great. Yeah. Actually, it's lovely to have some nice personalised table plan. Yeah. One that I did this week was the 12 Days of Christmas.
Oh, I like it. Okay, okay.
So all the different ones, a partridge in a pear tree, and all lovely. The different sayings.
Okay.
So there's so many different things.
Yeah, and I suppose people are coming to you with new ideas all the time that it gets very exciting for you as well, I suppose.
It does. Yeah. I love keeping it fresh. There was another couple I did their table plan for. The groom, when he was going on his stag night, his friends...
Oh God, should you tell the story?
No, it's okay. But the groom, they printed off, he was always losing his boarding card.
Right.
And as a joke, the guys on the stag night printed off a giant size boarding card for when he was checking in.
Oh my God.
So I think it was on 96 FM. And
Are you serious?
Yeah. So they did, we did a Ryanair table plan card.
I love it.
Because wherever they went abroad for his stag night, I can't remember now, but it was through Ryanair, so we made it a boarding pass table plan.
And that's a great story then from the day.
Funny, Ryanair, with all the colours and everything.
Because I suppose people are going to ask, what's with the boarding pass? Why is it this kind of thing? Yeah, no, that's great.
So it's a bit of a conversation starter as well. Exactly, then at the table, especially when guests don't know each other.
It'll definitely tie in with the speeches at some stage as well. Yeah. And I suppose the other thing as well within the banqueting room, when I think of it, would be people do favours, but as an alternative to favours, they would do donation cards to a charity of their choosing. Like we had a groom who had a transplant a few years before the wedding, and all their donation cards then were towards that charity kind of thing. And you see it more and more, and there's usually some story or some family member. It means something
there's something personal behind it. Yeah. There's usually a story behind it. A family member, passed away there, or they helped their family in some way. Yeah. And Yeah, a lot of people do that as their place cards, you know.
Instead of putting the money into chocolates or bits and pieces, you're actually giving it to charity.
And they write a note saying in lieu of, you know, instead of having a wedding favour.
And that's something that you can do then for the tables. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, but it's something alternative as well. And I suppose something I think this is kind of, I could be wrong now, but it seems a little bit newer. Yes. And all these little fun packs you can do for people. Do you want to explain to people what a welcome pack would be, I suppose?
Yeah, a welcome pack would be like people would have little bags made up. And they might have, especially maybe if they're having it in another place rather than locally or home. Yeah. They might have details about the area or fun things to do. Okay. They might have headache tablets in it.
The hangover packs, is it? Very Irish, but it's
well, it mightn't help with that. But they might have a little bottle of, you know.
I've seen them once or twice before. I thought it was a great idea. Yeah.
Little things like that. Yeah. You know, to help them the next day. Yeah. But it's really good fun as well, you know. So.
A little message to kind of go mad tonight, this will help you tomorrow kind of thing. Yeah.
So in the welcome pack as well, one of the ones I did recently, on the reverse of the welcome pack, they had their wedding timeline. Okay. So when people got off the ferry, arriving at the wedding destination, when they opened their little welcome pack, they had the wedding timeline there as well. So you could put the timeline in a few different places.
Yeah, to really communicate to people.
To communicate to people what's going on the day.
No, and they might, it kind of makes it, and I suppose that is the same thing as a travel pack then as well. I suppose welcome pack, travel pack, they kind of all tie in together. Or even, I suppose it doesn't have to be people that are travelling. If you've got a ceremony in one spot and you could have an hour's, and that happens quite a lot, where it's an hour and a half drive between your ceremony location, which could be, say, one of the bride or groom's hometown, to the actual reception. Like, I've seen people giving out little packs at the end of the ceremony to kind of keep you going on the way. I think it's a nice way to tell people as well, please don't stop off somewhere for too long and come to the wedding reception. Here's some water and a sandwich.
Because I think Irish people, as a tradition, it is a big thing from the church on the way to the hotel to stop off in the pub. And we all do it, you know, but it's it is good to give people a little nudge and say politely, this is what, be here.
Yeah, and timeline goes in again and you know what you're doing. Yeah. Exactly. That's great. So I suppose, so that's kind of, is there anything else that I'm not aware of, or is that kind of covering stationery, kind of like what is available to people, or is there anything else that kind of people ask for? I know that was quite a lot.
A lot of, after the wedding, a lot of people come to me for thank you cards. Oh, yes. So with the images that their photographers do for them, they usually pick out their favourites and they send them to me, and they want to implement them then in their invitation. Okay. This particular one now, the couple had a glitter invitation. So we put it into their thank you card, so it followed all the way through.
Oh, it's quite subtle as well.
They had a delicate pink card, and we put the glitter just in digitally, and then they had all their favourite photographs when they got them from their wedding photographer. Yeah. And that's really good as well. I love designing those and putting an element of their invitation in there.
I kind of ties it all up,
This one here as well, a couple that live in France. Okay. They had two cards. They had thank you cards, and then they had one saying merci as well.
Lovely. Okay.
And they had the monogram that was on their invitation from here, actually. Okay. So into their thank you card as well.
And actually, I've seen that quite a bit. I've seen people actually, it's almost like they're creating a branding for their wedding. And I've seen people actually design logos, and it's their wedding logo. And I suppose that all ties in with the bespoke side of things.
I love doing monograms for people and doing different scripts, and I just love it. It's really nice just to have their names and the date. Yeah. And
I suppose the colours, it all ties in then.
Yeah, it all ties in. Because this lady here, her hydrangeas, these were actually put into her wedding invitation as well. So everything follows through, and her groom had the hydrangea, and even the gold from the lettering, it all
brilliant.
Went through and personalises it, for them. But
it's actually a perfect photograph to tie in, isn't it? She then shows off her colouring.
It's lovely when people come back, when you've done their wedding stationery and they're happy you've done a great job, and they come back and see the photographs of their day. It's just amazing.
And I suppose with thank you cards, there is no real time frame on them, because I've seen people send them out like so quickly. Like they'd have a thank you card sent out within weeks, and then you'd have other people, it could be years down the line, and they eventually get to it.
Yeah, some people want them a few weeks later.
Okay.
Generally, I think a couple of months later, but some people wait till their first year anniversary and then they send them out.
Oh,
yeah,
right,
a year later, and they contact me, and they've got their photographs at that point.
Yeah.
And they do it on the year, so everyone has different ideas of what, or it depends how organised that you are as well.
That's it. Yeah. And I suppose so. Like all this is available to people, and it's kind of it varies it's the individual's process of how much they want to include, if they want to do everything or minimal, and then you're helping along with the design. But I suppose, so someone that's just gotten engaged and they're on the wedding planning journey, how would they find you? How would they source you?
Okay. Well, they would find me on Google, Instagram, Facebook. I get a lot of referrals from friends and family as well.
This is massive. Yeah.
It's massive, and then, they send me an email or a DM on Instagram or a personal message through social media, and we either set up an appointment, or if they want to see samples first, I'll post them out to them, and they can have a look and see if they like my designs, and then we take it from there.
And is there ever, like, this might be a silly question, but it, like, to me, it's not, is it ever a point where you can be fully booked, that you have to kind of, or is it the type of service, I suppose, that you can always kind of accommodate a request for someone? Or is there ever a time of the year where, say, the summer is an obvious busy season?
Summer would be full wedding season, and it's mental, so I do ask people contact me, as much time as possible. But I do, if people have had, stresses going on or personal things going on, and if people are really stuck and they contact me last minute, I do try and accommodate rush orders, and if it means working late into the night to get it done, that's just part of the job. And we get there in the end and get it done. So people can contact me as well if, Yeah,
and I suppose social media, like that's it's one of the biggest ones, and it's great for people to actually see finished products as well, because I've seen your social media and you're great for kind of updating and putting up new things and new ideas, like we were talking about, like those posters and signs and bits and pieces, because it's nice to kind of, for you to kind of create a vault of knowledge, I suppose, when it comes to, and then someone comes to you and says, I'm clueless when it comes to this, that you can be the person that actually sits down and says, well,
it's just helping people find the direction that they want to go with, you know. And again, like I say to them, look, if you have a Pinterest board, if you have, a wedding Pinterest board, that you've colours of your flowers, of your bridesmaid dresses, of any elements that you want to put in, maybe of your dogs, of, your pets, anything at all, share it with me. And, once you've booked me, we can share it with me, and we'll start, And when
it comes to actually, I suppose, booking you, like you said there, is it a case of, do you ask for deposit to book, or how does it work for booking for people?
So in order for me to start any job, I require a booking deposit. So I can't start anything
get the name in the diary.
Booking it in, because obviously you need to plan out your work schedule as well.
That's it. I think everyone's the same in this industry. Like lots of people who inquire, but if you're certain about booking someone, you need to kind of show that, I suppose, in a sense. No, that's perfect. And I mean, I suppose one thing actually I was just thinking of there, we didn't actually discuss when we were talking about the wedding cards, was how to know how many wedding cards you're ordering. And I think that's something that people struggle with.
It is. It's actually, you would think it would be something obvious, but a lot of the queries that I get, people actually tend to count their wedding guests rather than...
Like I'm inviting 300 people.
Yeah. So it's not one per person, it's one per household. And it's something that people actually, forget. So I always mention in the email, don't forget it's one per household. And nearly every second person comes back and says, I actually didn't realise that.
You've got a spare 150 cards in the corner.
So, it does cut down then the amount of invitations. So, you do have to think about that,
And actually another thing, sorry, these all things are just popping into my head at the moment. I remember when we were getting married and we got invites and painstakingly sat down and wrote out the names of each guest in the nicest writing that we could manage. I know you mentioned that you do this for couples, which I think is amazing.
I mean, once the main thing is to get your guest list started as soon as possible, but once you've your guest list done, I send you a template of an Excel spreadsheet. You just pop in all your names, send it back to me, and everything then is, all your names are personalised on the invitations, and it just gives more of a sleeker, professional finish.
That's it,
than writing,
And this is just something you do as standard for people.
I do that. I include that in all my invitations.
That's amazing. Yeah. Because like when it comes to weddings, like you plan for such a long time and it can be short engagements or long engagements. But when it comes down to it, time becomes very limited, and sitting down precious, to write out that many invites. Yeah.
It is.
Or you make a mistake when you're actually writing it. Yeah.
You know, I always give people extra envelopes as well, because even myself, if I'm writing out Christmas cards, I always tend to make a mistake and it goes in the bin. So I give people extra envelopes.
You're thinking of these things.
It's just human nature, you know, we all make mistakes. So,
yeah.
You know.
And is there any other hints and tips that you can think of that you'd like to share with future brides and grooms to be planning out there? Is there anything else you can think of when it comes to stationery or wedding cards?
Well, I suppose, as we mentioned before, do it as early as possible. Get all your guest information together, who you're inviting, get all your colour schemes together. You know, I suppose if you do want to go with colours from your bridesmaid dresses, bring a sample to me if you want, and I'll colour match it.
An actual swatch of the dress,
is
it?
An actual swatch of the dress, if you want to go with that. Send me pictures of your flowers, anything at all, any information that you have. Give me everything, you know, that you want included. It's really important.
As much information as possible will make the process a little bit easier.
It will, because it gives me an insight then into, you know, the personalities and what the couple wants. And the colours and everything, you know, so.
And I suppose when it comes down to it, when it comes to wedding stationery, wedding cards and everything that goes along with it, it's all about communication.
It is.
So as like when you were saying about getting information for the actual design side of things, it's just as important about the content. The content of it is actually why I think people sometimes lose sight. It's pretty, it's lovely, it's got a little bit of a pearl and a glitter to it, but what's actually going on in the content is the reason you're doing this.
Exactly. You know, like sit down, have all your times ready, find out if you're having a day after party or information for that. Anything else that you want to include. If you want to set up as well, do a Gmail wedding address. It's free to set up. Do that as one of your first things before even contacting your stationer, because I think a lot of people are replying now by email or by text message. You can have a separate RSVP if you want. But I'm finding a lot of couples now are actually putting an email address or a telephone number.
To please RSVP by these two different...
Or a wedding website, just to make it a little easier for their guests to reply back to them as well.
And on the wedding website, and it might not be something that people do, but do they ever actually on the website put a digital copy, say, of their invite on the website?
They do. The couple that I mentioned earlier, that got married in the Aran Islands, they had a wedding website. And they asked me as well, for the designers who set it up, of a digital copy to put it there also. As well as all the directions and things like that, you know.
And that's great, because you've got the artwork, it's there. You might as well use it in as many places as possible for people. Especially for those destination weddings, like you were saying. But I mean, Avril, there's been so much information there, because I've learned a lot today anyway. I don't know about everybody else, but when I think the communication and the timing seems to be key, so that everything else can flow and just enjoy the process. And I know we talked a lot about people designing very bespoke and individual things, but for the people out there that they don't want to put this much time into the artwork and stuff, you do have a lot of collections that they can actually view on your website as well.
So I mean, leave me deal with the stress of it. I'll organize all those bits, and that's what I'm there to do, you know, take away the stress and make things go as smoothly as possible.
That's amazing. Avril, thank you very much for coming in.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, Laura.
No, it was great. Honestly, so much information there. Thank you, Avril.
Thanks a lot.